name is Beth McDonald Stone, and I'm an avid knitter and knitwear designer coming to you from Bermuda. It's been crazy snow. I've been watching online and everything of the East Coast and Southern Ontario and basically all of North America. I know all of North America is getting it. My son's at a snow day at school. I can see all sorts of amazing videos and pictures of the snow everywhere, and Nashville looks like it got hit badly. New York City, people are skiing in the streets and tobogganing in Central Park. Wherever you are, if you're in that area, I hope you're home warm and cozy and enjoying the snow and not doing too much shoveling. But anyways, no snow in Bermuda. It's actually kind of a weird, humid day. The temperatures, I should say, have been going up and down like really crazy. So we can have a really chilly day, which we're going to have tonight and tomorrow, I think. And then it can get kind of humid because of all the moisture and precipitation obviously around. We've had lots of winter fires in the fireplace every night to kind of take the edge off, and that's been really great. But yeah, no snow, thank God. I have been here when it's hailed a couple times. That's really odd, but no snow. I am going to Vogue knitting this weekend. I'm really excited, so that's on the discussion point for this episode. Also, I made a bit of a mistake on my big Stephen West blanket. I had hoped to be finished, but yet I'm back to the ways back, which is fine, but I'll tell you all about how that happened and what went on there, and hope that if you knit that, you won't have the same errors. And it's all mine. It's all my reading of the pattern. And then the first thing that I want to talk about is this new design, the Painted Fern sweater. It's coming out this week. So when this episode airs, it'll be live on Ravelry. And of course, the 20% discount that I always have for new sweater patterns, no coupon required or anything. And that will be for the first 2 weeks. And I don't have it written properly here. There's a mistake on my paper here. But I believe that's February 14th. So maybe to Valentine's Day, 2 weeks from today. I think it's that. Anyways, I'm really excited with this pattern. This one was a fun one to design and to knit. I designed it on the needles and wrote it up after. Never done that before. That was a cool experience. Felt a little fast and free for me. I'm not usually that person. I usually sort of have an idea, then draw it out, draft the pattern, and basically test knit from my own pattern and tweak, and then go from there to tech editor and test knitting and publishing. This was a bit backwards. There was pros and cons to that, which was fun. It was fun. It was hard to write afterwards because you do forget so quickly. And I did leave out something that the test knitters had to find, which I'm super grateful for the test knitters and their patience. So everything is great, but I think I'll stick with, I'll stick with whatever I feel like at the time of designing. And this was actually really fun. So, again, patient test knitter. So thank you. And a wonderful tech editor too, who catches all my mathematical mistakes and things like that, and spelling errors and grammatical errors. But anyways, so this sweater. This is the Painted Fern sweater. A lovely viewer suggested the name. I did a call out for the name, and I love the name. It's perfect. Thank you. Anyways, this is a fun design with basically, I had drawn up this chart for Fern. I love ferns. Bermuda is a very humid climate, and ferns love humidity and shady spots, and especially where something is in the lee, ferns just grow galore. I find them very calming, very peaceful, very soothing looking. I love the really rich dark greens and colors of ferns. And so I have a strong affinity for a fern and the motif of a fern. So one day I was feeling a bit antsy. I find drawing helps me calm down, and I drew this, and then I literally just put it right on my needles. The concept to jump right on the needles was, hey, I wonder what would happen if I have a motif and treat that motif like a raglan. So you have multiple raglans in the round, and the multiple repeats, similar to a circular yoke, except at the circular yoke, you have the increases throughout, where I wanted to keep the increases on these diagonal lines here so that it would increase like a raglan, where you have 2 increases on either side of a stitch or multiple stitches. For this case, it was just 1 stitch. So And the number of motifs, of course, increase for the different, or decrease for the size that you want in the finished garment. So put it on the needles and just had no expectation. And I loved it. I love the fit. I think it's great because people sometimes who are broad-shouldered, who are very sort of, if you find your profile, your shoulders are very, I shouldn't say broad-shouldered, very perpendicular to, you know, a very much a right angle, where mine are, I don't have slopey shoulders, but I don't have them. They're not, when I used to do a lot of swimming, they were very perpendicular. But anyways, some people have more perpendicular shoulders and find that raglan sweaters don't increase in a way that fits their shoulders, basically. Because if you have a perpendicular shoulder and a raglan increase is only at an angle like this, it's going to be tight for a while until it gets to be at the right width for you. And I know that's a problem for some people. For some people, raglan sweaters fit beautifully. I find they're fantastic for me, and it's a construction method that I do really enjoy. But for some people, it just totally doesn't work. So for those people it doesn't work, this I think is a great solution because you have multiple points, not just 4. You've got many more than 4, not many, multiples of 4 all over that increase at the same rate. So it's a faster increase. So you can see that actually the main increases are actually just a short distance here for this sweater on my size. And I think I finished at the high 40s inches. So 46 to 48 inch finish circumference. And I'm doing that off by memory. So sorry, that's a bit vague. But so that is great in going from a smaller neckline to the finished bust circumference quite quickly. Then you finish the chart here after those sort of multiple raglans. And then under the arm, there's also increases to get to your target size for sleeve or bust. And those are pretty much hidden under the arms. They're rapid increases, but again, on the kind of raglan concept. And each size has that instruction in there. Yeah, so I think it's a really fun, really quick knit. It's quite a good size gauge, if I remember correctly. Sorry, I'm doing this by memory. 12 or 14 stitch gauge. And I'll reconfirm that here because I shouldn't be just taking these numbers off the top of my head because it's a bit cloudy up there. Anyways, so a fairly large size gauge, a large size needle, and you just whip through it. There are suggestions here for, if I remember correctly, on either side of the raglan some ladder back jacquard, which you can see the ladder here. And I give instructions on how to do that and also link it to a video tutorial. It's really quite simple and it creates a lovely smooth finish for long floats. Additionally, I start this from the neckline here down and then pick up and work the collar afterwards. Again, I think that gives you a lot more control over the fit and how it lies around your neck. I also put the short rows in the collar, so you'll notice that comes in later, and that's in the ribbed collar itself. The collar is folded and stitched down, and I just think it's lovely and cozy, and it fits really well, and I'm really pleased with it. The sleeves are straight, and the length for me is what I would do as a standard sweater length here, so that's it all together. Really fun. I used 2 different yarns. I used my stash. I'm really trying to, use stash yarns and not ordering it in. It's hard to get it here fast and at any time. So I'm trying to be creative with what I have. So I had bought the main color here at Vogue Knitting, I think last year. And that was Mode at Rowan, Softest Alpaca color 15, which is the linen color. Love that. It was really a nice neutral. And then I used, for contrasting color, a very similar yarn, but a different brand, which is Isager yarn Isager yarn soft, color natural. So that's great. And I've used this before, I think, on other loose cable knit sweater before. And this is just the leftovers I had. So that worked out really well. Yeah, what can I say else that might be helpful? Short rows in the collar, worked top down, collar picked up. I suggest Italian bind off, sewn bind off. I find that gives a really nice look, but do whatever you're comfortable with. And the multiple raglans. This pattern is on sale 20% off until for 2 weeks from the date of publication. So it's coming out this Friday, the 29th. So 14 days after the 29th. I think that's around the 12th or the 13th of February. No coupon required on Ravelry for that. And yeah, and the link to the pattern will be down below. So I hope this appeals to you. I hope you enjoy it. And lots of test knitters worked on it. So take a look at the test knitters and all of their beautiful versions. And yeah, happy knitting. So the only other FO was a hat. I packed it. It's cool, it's simple, and so I'm ready for the snow. Like I said, I had hoped that this was going to be a finished object. This is the Houses of Reykjavik Blanket by Stephen West. It's an amazing design, and I just didn't read the pattern properly. So I'm going to link it now to a video that I tried to put together, sorry. I'm multitasking. As I'm recording this, I'm trying to put that other video together, so it's uploading sections. And so it's my intent that now that video will be fantastic and will explain what I did and where I went wrong and how I am fixing it. But I've just given you a little sneak preview, and so you probably know how I'm fixing it after all the work. But anyways, doesn't matter. It's fun. It's all a learning lesson. Check it out, and we'll see you back in a sec. Okay, so I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake when I was picking up here for the brioche section to build out. Instead of picking up at the second parallelogram, which I believe would be this one, I picked up at the first one. So these brioche sections are off by that much. So however many stitches, I'll have to figure out how many stitches those are. And so I need to shift it because what's happening is what I think are the houses of Reykjavik here, this parallelogram and the short row sections create a point, but it's not matched with the point that should be here, which is also the waves. And hopefully you can see that. Sorry, I can't really see the camera, but anyways, so I need to shift it this many stitches this way or this way. It doesn't really matter. Now, when I got to the pickup point here, there was a lot of stitches on my needles, obviously, because it's quite a big circle, that it was so many stitches that I couldn't pass them on my cord. So I actually had to go up a needle size, and I did the brioche and I've been working on the wave section, but it's really hard on my hands. So I've been kind of trying to give myself like one round, which takes me about an hour, and then take a break and then come back a couple hours later and do another round. So it's not something I'm really rushing to rip out and knit back, which I'm usually really happy to, but this has been so hard and I'm down just to the wire. So my thoughts are, if I can get in here, oh, sorry, I'm gonna see someone in the front yard. Must be a cat or a chicken. Anyways, if I can see in here and pick up these brioche stitches, this was not a live section. So these were not live stitches. That was just picking up against an edge. So if I can pick up the brioche stitches here, and then cut out this one pickup column here, then in an ideal world, I'll be able to have this section here, this sort of, we'll call it the brioche and wave border on needles, separated from this circular section here, and be able to pivot it, and then literally almost just, instead of grafting it, because they won't be live stitches here, I'll literally just sew it back in place. That's my idea. So to start, I've got one long cable. Well, I've run out of long cables because my 60-inch cable is already on the perimeter with two barber cords, just to kind of have it as open as possible. So I've got another cable here and another needle, and I've got two more cables here that I can attach when I need to. And I have marked this because I found this hard to find. This is the start. So I'm going to just start picking up and try to put all these stitches on this cable and see where we go. Yeah, so let me give it a whirl, and I'll do a few stitches with you, and then I will come back again in a couple of hours probably, or another day, and keep you posted on the progress. But yeah, so I'm quite happily to pick up these stitches. It's actually not, I don't think, as big a deal, but maybe I'm oversimplifying it. Anyways, I'll keep working at that. You can see kind of roughly what I'm going to do all the way around, and hopefully that works. And if it doesn't, then I'll just knit it, reknit it another time. So stay tuned. Okay. Okay, so that didn't work. I couldn't identify the stitches. So what I'm doing now is I'm just pulling out the main color yarn, going around. I'll move all these off here. Going around and just separating it. So then my last thought would be, I wonder if I pulled everything off, could I secure it like almost like a steek and then just sew it back on? So this is a long shot, probably not recommended, but since it looks like I'm gonna have to rip back anyways, why not? So here we go, just going around and around, pulling out this one white main color thread, and we shall see what happens. There's a good chance I'll be just reknitting this, but perseverance, right? So this is really interesting. As I pull it out, you can really see what I've done. You can see where this on the wave is pointing to the low side, where now that I've pulled it off, if I had it correctly, it should be pointing there, which would magically keep a beautiful flat shape. But unfortunately, it was sort of here, and then these were pushed in, which of course, shape-wise will never work. So I'm still not sure if I'm going to be able to pick up these stitches here or secure them in any way, but I am continuing. And as I do it, I am really just looking at the brio stitches to try to see if I can identify exactly what I'm looking for to pick up to secure them going forward. But anyways, I'm learning about my knitting with every mistake. Anyways, so that's it for me at this stage. Stay tuned. Okay, so a couple hours later, and I've gotten most of the stitches, just the last few that I'm doing right now, off onto these needles here. So that is good. I think they're pretty secure. There's a few sections that are repeated regularly that have me a bit worried because they're with it, I think not rapid increase, but a double increase sections. It's pretty hard to understand where the stitches fall, but anyways, I think it's pretty much there. So now I'll just finish these last little bits off and then reposition it. And I think what I'll do is I will reposition it, pin it into place, and then leave it for tomorrow. And then I've got to figure out what will be the best way to stitch it, sew it back together. And I'm a bit on the fence about that. But I'm sure just like today, it will all eventually make sense. So there's a weird little spot there where I started to pull it apart. I'm just going to pick up those two because I'm finding that basically it's 2 white, 2 black, 2 white, 2 black. So I'm going to call that a day there. And yeah, so that's great. And now I can, as you can see, where it goes down, I can match that up and fit it back together. But it's amazing how the brioche is so much wider. So basically these linear sections go against the short row sections. And when I sew it back together, that's why I just have to be conscious that they fit together like that. So stay tuned. We're getting there. I think success, but I don't want to jinx myself yet. All right. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that little video that was taken on Saturday when I spent the afternoon trying to fix my mistake and shift the border with the brioche, basically half a repeat. That didn't work out. And the reason really why, and as you can sort of see, and I'm starting to realize in the process, is that there are, in each repeat, there's, let's see if I can pull it open here. There are some increase sections and decrease sections. So increases actually were okay because they were like knit, yarn over knit into a brioche stitch. So that I could see that there was 2 sets of white stitches together. But where it got really hard was on the decreases. So any brioche decrease like this, and there's 2 in each repeat. And when I put those stitches back on the needle, even trying to take as much time as I possibly could with care, it was just so many stitches and they got to be a big mess. And so when I was trying to sort of stitch it back into the existing blanket, the round here to the houses section, I just couldn't make those stitches sit or lie nicely. And so in concept, yes, that pulling it off as I did worked out perfectly, except for the areas where there was the decreases, the brioche decreases, and I couldn't do it. And after spending, I think that took me 3.5, 4 hours, after spending all that time and all that time knitting it, I just decided I didn't want to sabotage the project or make an area look jumbly or wrong or chaotic. And so then I ripped it. And ripping it, and I wanted to use the yarn because I know I'm using scraps, but it's amazing. I only have so much sort of the pale white natural color in yarn and black, where I have tons of colors. And I know I could add colors, but I just have in my head, I wanted, it's kind of like how Stephen did his. So I had to, took time and care and balled them all up. So they're all back here. I need to show you, they're all back here and ready to be knit up again. And that's cool. And, so I spent all of Saturday afternoon working on it, and I was not unhappy that I did. I'm actually really satisfied that I did, because had I just ripped it out, I would have always been wondering, I wonder if I could have, I wonder if I could have. And so I've done that and I've tried it, and it is successful, as long as with brioche, for me, I think at this stage, as long as the brioche is really simple and straightforward. Once you get into the decreases, that's when I really was in uncharted territory, and I just didn't know what to do with all of those stitches, all kind of clustered in one section. That was sort of very key. So a huge learning curve. So I've put the stitches back on the needles and I've started knitting. I'm working back on the brioche. I had, like I said, really hoped to have finished before this episode and before going to Vogue knitting. Clearly I'm not. I'd love to be finished the brioche section, but chances are even that I won't. I love sections when I can figure out the pattern repeat and get into the swing of things. So I know that with a week delay, I'll have to reteach myself the brioche. It's not hard. It's just, I would love to be finished that and then just start on the old shale kind of wave section, but that's probably not going to happen, because there's about 1,000 stitches on the needles right now, and it takes a long time to get around. I think basically just shy of an hour. And then once I do the next increase, which actually takes me right to 1,000 stitches, or just a couple shy, then it's definitely an hour. And it's also just manipulating the stitches around the cable. It's hard, and it's funny manipulating them. I'm finding that my right hand, I'm a righty, and I throw. So this hand has actually been fine. It's this thumb, but pushing the stitches back onto this needle here. So the needle that I, mount the stitches forward to catch, to knit here. It's this thumb that was just getting super tired. I have decreased the size of this needle by 2, so I'm working with a 7 in my right needle and a 5, a US 5 in my left. But yeah, it's a lot of stitches, a lot of yarn, and it's getting kind of like a physical workout, which is cool. I'll just, have a really strong thumb by at the end of this. So that's cool. I'm fine with it. And I love, love, love this design. It's totally worth it for me. But because I've been so obsessed with this, it's amazing how my other projects have totally taken a backseat to everything. And so now I'm realizing that my flight on Wednesday is earlier than I thought. I usually the flight to New York is in the afternoon, but it's actually a couple hours earlier. And so now I'm kind of like, oh, I've got to get organized. And I'm pretty much organized, but that's always exciting. Getting organized for a knitting festival is always fun, isn't it? What sweaters are you going to take? What outfits are you going to put together? I'm still working on that. I'm sticking with a color theme just because I find that actually really easy to travel with, basically. So I'm sticking with the color theme and mixing and matching, and that'll give me a lot more outfits because I don't want to carry too much, but it's winter. So you've got a winter coat, which hopefully will air in time. It was really funky smelling when I pulled it out, which hasn't been worn since last Vogue. And you've got your sweaters and you've got your, long pants and stuff. It's just like a volume of stuff anyways, it's winter. It's great. It's fine. Yeah, so I'm having fun getting ready for Vogue. I've got classes. I've got 3 classes I'm really excited about. So I'm taking 3 classes at Vogue and I'm getting ready for those. A little spoiler alert, not spoiler, but a word of advice. I didn't realize this last year. Like I said, I love taking classes. I didn't realize that now we're to print out our handouts before. So if you're going and you're taking classes, print out your handouts now. So I'm prepared. I've got my handouts ready. I've got to check out my homework. There's sometimes homework for classes, like things that you need to get on your needle so that the teacher can then dive right into the topic because you've got like a baseline of whatever set up. I haven't looked at the homework situation. I should do that too. And yeah, I'm really excited. The 3 classes I'm taking, one is continental knitting. I can always use the practice. It's something that I'd like to be almost like bilingual in, English and continental. I fall into English just because that's how it naturally goes. I probably always will though. And I use it for 2-color or color work. And when I don't have 2 colors in my hand, I find continental knitting feels really awkward. So that's fine, something I have to learn and practice. And with each class and instructor, you learn something new. So it's really great. I'm excited about that. The other one I'm taking is cables, reversible cables. So cables that'll look good on both sides. I'm excited about that. That seems intriguing. I don't know that I've never had a class by the teacher or the instructor. I'll tell you more after. And then the 3rd class is mathematical sequences with Sandy Peters. I'm really excited about that. I love math. I think that's going to be really interesting. I don't know really what it's about. I'm guessing maybe Fibonacci, but maybe not, maybe something else. But I've got lots to learn there, and I'm excited about that. So getting prepped for Vogue knitting, I need to have all those in order because I really focused on the blanket. I need to figure out what I'm going to knit while I'm away, which is, I always find a little anxiety making, but I want a good knit for the airplane and for the hotel. And, you need to have a good knit on your needles, don't you? Gosh. So that I've got to work out and packing and things like that. So I'm getting really excited for Vogue. If you're going and if you're there and you see me, please say hello. I'd love to chat, love to meet you. You can see who I am, but I can't see who you are. And even though we have great discussions underneath, but please introduce yourself to me because that's the only way I'll recognize the person from the conversation, and I really would love to. So that's exciting. And yeah, and just going to the cold north, well, which is really just west, but it's cold and it's not here right now, but it will be before I leave. So maybe it'll be almost similar. Anyways, it's going to be fun. Can't wait to get away and have a little week of urban excitement. So I'll leave you there. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Happy knitting, happy crafting. If you're at Vogue, say hi. Otherwise, stay home, stay cozy, stay warm, shovel snow, I guess, if that's what you're up to. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, bye-bye.